Good morning. Thank y'all for being here. Last night we had a fire that broke out in the apartments that are under construction that you see behind me. It started on the sixth floor. It was kind of burning up to the seventh floor. We got a little bit of a handle on it, but because of the construction and there's void spaces that are in that construction that are still open, the fires continue to move throughout the building. And
I'm going to raise you up, Chief.
And we have been all night, that fire has been working through those void spaces and throughout the building. As you can see on the corner behind me, it's kind of moved over into this corner now. We're trying to keep it from going down a floor and then running back through the building again. We have some of the walls that are associated with this building are compromised right now, and we're trying to keep our apparatus and our personnel out of the harm's way should the building, some of those walls start collapsing. This fire went to a third alarm, which means we had about 110 firefighters. We have about 110 firefighters on scene right now, and that consists of about 12 engines, 7 ladders, 6 rescues, and a multitude of support apparatus. So, Mayor.
Good morning, everybody. Obviously, I first want to start by just saying how grateful I am for our firefighters who have been out here all night long, putting themselves in peril and trying to get this fire under control. Obviously, from a city perspective, this is just incredibly heartbreaking. Obviously, the first residents of this type that we were going to have going up here in the sports district, it's hard to watch it go down. Very many questions remain about where this is and what the cause of it is and all of that. But at this point, I'm just grateful nobody was hurt. It looks like at this point nobody was hurt, and we want to keep it that way. So I think they're going to be out here for a long time. This is going to be a process to get this thing completely under control, and we'll have to assess where it goes from there.
Mayor, this is smack dab right in the middle of the sports complex where people literally come in from across the country. What are the emotions for you seeing this? It was so close to being finished too.
Well, obviously a lot of us grew up with the Doro building right there, and it was a fixture in Jacksonville for so long, and to see the transformation of it to this, obviously it was something we were all very much looking forward to, a lot of pride in that. So truly this is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see because we were so close. This place was supposed to open up in a month. I spoke with Greg Blaze from Rise and told him that I'm hopeful that at some point we'll be able to get it back on track, but at this point it certainly looks like this is a total loss.
With it opening up in a month, it was.
Yeah, not now.
What did that mean for the permitting, the inspections, the safety? Was there a fire sprinkler system in there? What do we know?
Well, like I said, there are a great many questions that I have at this point about the fire, the sprinklers, the systems, all of that. We don't have the answers yet, Vic, and it would be irresponsible to try to guess at this point. I think the fire investigators are here. It may take a while to figure it out, but yeah, we were very close to the opening of this building, so those are questions I have as well.
Mayor, do we know what will happen when I want to put down the deposits in here? What that will look like for them?
We aren't there yet. Obviously, we're still working to put this fire out at this point. I'm sure all of that will be dealt with. I mean, I know they were in the process of leasing these apartments, but at this point, it's going to be a long time.
And it might be too early, but I do know that the building received a $6.23 million tax incentive. Do you know what will happen to that money if the building's a total or partial loss?
I don't know at this point. Obviously, there must be insurance involved with it, but I don't know at this point where it goes from here.
Chief, this is called a total loss by people behind the worst fires in the city in the past decade.
I would say it's one of the worst in the past decade. It's up there, but obviously we've had some pretty spectacular fires. We had the apartment that was under construction out on Gate Parkway that was very spectacular as well. But this is a big fire, big loss.
Chief, I know there's a lot of businesses around here. I'm looking in the distance. I see Intuition Ale Works, Manifest Distilling there. How are they doing? I mean, there's flammable items inside those businesses.
Yeah, that is a big concern of ours, and I'll tell you, our men and women made a big stand last night down on that end because of the concern with intuition. Those distilled products are a hazard if they start burning. That south wall is compromised, and so they made a big stand last night. I couldn't be prouder of our men and women and what they did to protect intuition.
You're talking about the walls. What about the potential of a collapse? I had heard from Captain Crossrunner that could potentially fall as far as it is tall.
That is a big concern of ours right now, keeping our men and women safe, because as that roof burns off, you lose structural integrity, and the walls can pull in or fall out. We have, if you can see the wall behind me, this west wall down here is, you see it leaning in down on that far end, and so we had to back our apparatus away and stage them on the corners of the buildings, which is the safest areas for us to work in. So there is a concern of collapse.
Is this building going to need to be torn down? Is it salvageable, or is it?
We'll leave that to the engineers. Once we get the fire, totally put out, the engineers can come in and make that determination.
Tell me about your resources. How many of your resources are here? Over 110 firefighters now from Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's about 1/5 of our normal staffing in the city. We're blessed that we got a mayor and a city council that supports public safety, and they give us the resources that we need to be able to protect this city. So all this, though this seems like a lot of resources, we have plenty more that are out there still responding to our other 911 calls.
And Chief, I wanted to ask, is there any surveillance video in the area that may have captured the moments when this started and anyone running away from the building at all?
So as Mayor Deegan mentioned, the state of Florida is investigating this, helping it. They're here and they're working on that, but I don't want to say anything to compromise their investigation.
What can we say about the air quality? Obviously, people are smelling it. I mean, I smelled it this morning near the beach, out on JTB and Hodges. Do you have concerns about people that might have breathing issues, asthma, things like that? Yeah, I mean, obviously, we would suggest anybody that does have those type of issues to stay indoors and try not to breathe the smoke. The good thing is we got a real heavy wind that's kind of blowing it offshore and dispersing it, and it's not kind of settling down in one area.
Mayor, on social media, there was a lot of, not again in downtown Jacksonville. Obviously, there was the Bergman and all the 5 years, a number of years, it was just sitting in between. How does this affect downtown development, having a project like this happen? Does it set back downtown development in terms of what y'all want to do for downtown?
Well, obviously it's a setback, David. I mean, it's extraordinarily disappointing. I'm going to be honest. It was one of the first things that I thought about once I learned everybody was safe. We don't want to see this sit here for a long time and have it not developed. So I'm hopeful that we can move through this process. And as I spoke with Greg Blaze this morning from Rise, they are hopeful that they can continue along with the process of building it back up. But right now, it sure looks like this building at least is going to be a loss.
This building will be lost. Okay.
Mayor Deegan, I have a question for you. This apartment complex was going to be the homes of potentially 200 other people. I know that you're really excited for this to come to help with the revitalization, but how is this also not only a loss for downtown Jacksonville, but also to help with the issues that may come with helping people find places to live and find safe places to rent?
Well, sure. I mean, this was a market rate building, but obviously, anytime that you're taking hundreds of apartments out of the process, that's a concern. Obviously, the very first concern here is just that nobody was hurt and people are safe. That's the most important thing. But yes, in terms of apartments downtown, it's a loss.
Now, the developers, were they local to Jacksonville, the people who were planning on building this?
You know what? I don't know a lot about their background off the top of my head. I did speak with Greg Blaze from Rise this morning. I don't know where exactly they are from, but he did express that they would like to be able to put this back up when they can. Obviously, we're a long way from that at this point.
Last question for you. The stamina of the firefighters with your crew. I mean, we saw already men coming in this morning to relieve those who are working 10 hours.
Yeah.
What do you think that just says about not only your crew too, but just the people and the mindset of trying to salvage this building?
Well, obviously, they've just been doing heroes work all night long. I mean, and they had terrible conditions to work in. It's very dry. The wind was gusting up to 30 miles an hour. They have been tireless, for hours and hours and hours out here, and we're so grateful to them. It looks like they've still got days of work ahead of them before this is over.
Chief, I have a question for you. Do we know if there was construction going on over the weekend? Could this fire have been smoldering at that time?
Yeah, I'm not aware of construction going on over the weekend, but again, the investigators will figure all that out for us.
Chief, I know we can't predict the future, but what's your best guess right now for how long this thing's going to continue to be?
I think the mayor hit it on the head when she mentioned the word days.
Days.
I think we're going to be days into this just because of all the void spaces that are up there, and because it's not safe for us to put personnel inside. That means we have to work on it from the outside, and that means it's hard to get to. So I think we're talking about days.
That's going to take a lot of resources.
Was there a point where y'all thought y'all had it under control, it was down, and then flared back up? Can you kind of talk about what happened overnight?
Yeah, it was again. It's those void spaces, and that's very common when you're fighting building fires that are buildings under construction. They get in those void spaces; those aren't sealed up yet. The fire gets in there; it's hidden for a little while. You think you have it put out, and then it flares up, 50 feet down the hall. It's pretty common.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your time. Thank you.